SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast discusses topics which are relevant to the everyday lives of seniors and their caregivers. We are joined by experts who share their knowledge on a variety of issues. SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast offers solutions and resources to create the best quality of life as we age. And now, let's welcome your host, Darlene Mahoney.
SeniorLivingGuide.com is the most comprehensive online resource for seniors and their caregivers. We provide details on senior living communities to include retirement, assisted living, independent living, skilled nursing, memory care, as well as senior resources, home and healthcare solutions, all in one easy-to-navigate website, allowing you to decide which best fits your needs and connect you directly in one easy step. Visit us online at SeniorLivingGuide.com and start your search today. And I would like to express our gratitude to our podcast sponsors, Transmed Care Long Distance Medical Transportation and GoGo Grandparent. When a loved one with a disability or medical condition needs to relocate, Transmed Care is here to help with safe and secure nationwide medical transport services, while GoGo Grandparent provides reliable local rides, no smartphones required, with all drivers and vehicles screened to meet your mobility needs. Check us out at SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast. We are making sure that our seniors are getting exactly where they need to go. And today we are joined by Jeff Bartow, CEO of Homestyle Direct, a company that provides medically tailored home-delivered meals developed by dietitians that are offered through Medicare Advantage and Medicaid. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jeff.
Thanks, Darlene. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about meals that matter and advocating for those that want to age in place at home. And we're going to really build the case for aging at home, because it is such an important thing for those folks that really want to maintain that lifestyle within their own home or to live with a caregiver that can offer that additional support. So let's start with, I want to call it the big picture. So why is aging at home so important?
Yeah, it's a great question, Darlene. Most older adults overwhelmingly prefer to age in place. It's about maintaining their independence, staying connected with their communities, and preserving a sense of control. Obviously, all of us want to remain around our neighbors, our family, our local community churches, things of that nature. And also important to note, it's more cost effective, both for people and if you're on a government pay type healthcare program, it's more cost effective for those programs as well. In fact, Forbes just recently did a survey on this year, and it identified people 50 plus, ages 50 and over, actually prefer 77% of the time to age in place or age at home. So we know it's a benefit that people like to take advantage of. It improves quality of life, provides people greater independence. They have their social network. Like I mentioned, it's more cost effective. And obviously there's some potential health benefits there too. We see people thrive very often when they age in place versus being in an institution.
Yeah, I know that we've talked in the past with different panelists about some of the challenges of making those big moves, all the downsizing, the social aspects of making new friends, making new connections with people. We're really kind of starting over in some different ways, which, sometimes that's not an option, and those things kind of have to take place. But really, if you want to be able to age in place, really understanding the benefits of those and advocating for yourself when talking to your family, if there is some objections, because sometimes it is having that conversation with family, and sometimes they really want you to move into a community. So coming to the table with, advocating for yourself and having those battle lines drawn and saying, this is why it's better for me to stay at home, age in place, or, finding some caregiver support at some point. So one of the things that your strong suit is the nutrition side. So I know that one of the things that a lot of people have concerns about when they have a loved one that is aging in place is, are they going to eat right? I know that as seniors get older, they may not cook, or they're not eating properly, or they're eating, crackers, and they call that a meal, or they're just eating fast food, or they're just really not properly eating because they're not cooking for anyone anymore. And it's just easier for them to do that. So talking about food a little bit, what aspect of the food part is important when you're aging in place?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Nutrition is kind of one of the top three things that I think are important for people to have if they're going to age in place. We talk to adult children of people that are 65 plus that we serve all the time. And you're right. Their concern is mom or dad going to have the right nutrition, the right food, but they also often need personal care services, transportation to and from, medical visits, doctor's offices. And we really think that's the trifecta of getting someone all the resources they need to remain at home. So nutrition, meals, of course, that's what we do. We think that's critically important. But in addition to that, to avoid social isolation, you need the ability to get people to and from events. And on the medical or healthcare side of the house, you certainly need to get them to and from the doctor. So non-emergency medical transportation is one of those elements that's critically important. And then, as I mentioned, the ability to have personal care services, helping people with house cleaning, bathing, those types of activities are usually really important for people to be able to maintain their independence and live at home. And we think meals, personal care, and medical transportation are all required for a lot of people to be able to maintain their independence. And we find that that's what families that we talk with are most concerned about as well. So it's not just meals, it's not just nutrition, it's those three items that seem to be more critical for people to age at home, especially as they get up in years.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. There's multiple levels of concerns that you have with your folks when they're aging in place. And there's different opportunities that different providers can help fill those needs. And it's just finding the right ones to do that. So when you're really kind of looking at those different needs that those folks are looking for, so what are your recommendations when they're kind of looking to fill those needs?
Yeah, I think, often people are on when you're 65 years of age or older, you're usually taking advantage of Medicare, Medicare Advantage, or Medicaid often. And so you have an insurance provider that has available benefits often to take advantage of to provide those non-emergency medical transportation services or personal in-home care services, home care type offerings, as well as medically tailored home delivered meals like the ones that we serve. And so I think it's about reaching out to them. Often there's case management that is there to help navigate and take people through the different services and benefits that are offered to them. But those care navigators, those case managers, those social workers are sort of key pieces of the network to make sure people are aligned with the benefits that'll help them age in place.
One of the things that I think is important that I think people don't really think about is just the reduced stress level of being in your own home as one of the potential health benefits, as well as the overall well-being.
No, I totally agree. I think, one of the things we most often hear is that, if people are going to transition into an institution, they lose their ability to have a pet. Pets, widely known, right, that they reduce stress. And so having the ability to have a pet in the home, especially if you're living alone, I think is not just a stress relief, but it certainly has a bunch of other benefits, safety and otherwise. So, that's something where just that alone, not to mention having neighbors that well, people that will come to visit more frequently. One thing we don't talk about nearly enough is healthcare in rural markets, and people that live in rural markets, if they have to leave that market and go to another to get to an institution or a nursing home, a more populated area, they're often moving away from friends and family and others that they depend on in the community to move to this new setting that they've never been to before. That creates stress in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And stress and anxiety with our seniors is typically it's not a good thing for anyone, but I do think that it takes a higher toll on seniors as they're aging. It can definitely make a difference with their cognitive abilities and things like that. So it's something you really definitely want to take away from. And then I also think that sometimes when seniors have that stress and anxiety, it gets overlooked, and people don't give it the same types of value that they would on a younger person as they do older people with stress and anxiety, which I think is somewhat unfortunate.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit. I know that we talked about the social isolation, definitely mobility limitations. So there are definite options on the mobility side that I think we're really starting to see different resources coming to light for seniors for the mobility side. I know that one of our sponsors of this podcast is called GoGo Grandparent, and they provide transportation such as similar to Uber, but specifically for seniors for just everyday getting to where they need to go. And then you also have that home care opportunity as well, finding home care solutions that provide that as well. I know that was something that my mom took quite a bit of advantage of when she had home care services, just being able to go to the Dollar Tree and do some shopping, that type of thing. So it was really great, as well as some of those housekeeping things that she needed on a daily basis. So some of those things are definitely available. It's just finding the needs or the solutions that you need and where they're at. So there's all kinds of different opportunities when you are aging in place. But I know that one of the things that, we just kind of jump-started the whole podcast with was the power of nutrition, because that really can be what keeps you healthy and able to continue to age in place. Because if you're not staying healthy, it's going to affect everything moving forward and being able to maintain that health.
Absolutely. I think we're starting to learn more and more that food is very foundational to our health. I think everybody's always known that, but it's had a spotlight kind of on it recently. Those that are 65 plus too in the US have a lot of chronic conditions that they're managing. So diabetes, heart failure, renal disease, things like that, all of which, sort of companies like ours have solutions for. 93% actually of people over 65 in the US have a chronic condition of some sort that they're managing. And that's at least, one. 79% have two or more chronic conditions that they're managing over the age of 65. And so it's not just enough to have services offered or food provided. It's the right food, it's the right nutrition, and it is foundational to health. We hear stories from our members every day about the improvements that they're experiencing and the benefit they get by having kind of dependable nutrition that's always provided. Again, going back to that rural healthcare sort of element of our work, it's really, really important that we get sustainable sources of food to people that are in rural markets, and also food that's consistent with the chronic illnesses that they're challenged with.
TransMedCare long-distance medical transportation is a business built on care. Another satisfied customer writes,
"My family cannot recommend TransMedCare enough. They made Dad comfortable every single step of the way on a very long trip and went above and beyond to take incredible care of him, and he had a great time. Thank you all for getting Dad safely to his new home."
To learn more about TransMedCare, visit the website at trans-medcare.com.
We at GoGo Grandparent are so excited to be joining this podcast. With just one call to GoGo, you or a loved one can request a reliable ride anywhere you want to go. No smartphone required. All drivers and vehicles are screened and monitored to meet your mobility needs and can accommodate impairment equipment, such as a walker or a wheelchair. Plus, GoGo membership offers concierge services on meals and grocery delivery, as well as home services, which can include maintenance on your home, cleaning, gardening services. To learn more or sign up for GoGo, call 1-855-970-6294 or visit gogograndparent.com/SeniorLivingGuide.
Yeah, I know that the medically tailored meal has been such a hot topic, and I know we've talked about it with some of your other team members here on the podcast. And there is so much interest in it, and we can see it from how many people are listening to these podcasts. So continuing to get this information out is so important on our end, as well as I know that on your team members' end as well. So I really appreciate everything that you've shared with us. So do you have a real world example of someone that maybe had diabetes or something like that where it's made a difference in their life?
Sure. As I mentioned, we have we have members call us all the time. Obviously, I can't reveal specifics about the individuals, but
sure.
I can give you for instances. So, we have a client who was pre-diabetic or is pre-diabetic, and they were able to, regain their weight after an operation. And when they regained the weight, it was more about them not just adding weight, but also managing their blood sugar while they were adding weight back after an operation. They were able to do so, actually come off status of being pre-diabetic by use of our meals. And it's just an incredible thing that, sort of the foundation of food can do if you have the right food for the right condition and you're eating it on a consistent basis. Examples like that, that's one that comes to mind, but there's several of those types of things that occur when you have the right nutrition, specifically when you're battling chronic illness, and in this case, recovering from an operation, which is kind of the double whammy, right? Where you're managing a chronic illness and you're also trying to regain weight after you've lost strength from an operation. Those things are challenging. So that's just one application for medically tailored meals.
You're absolutely right. I can't imagine coming off of a major surgery like that and needing to make specific meals that meet specific criteria. I feel like that would be something that would be very challenging, and you definitely have to have somebody helping you to do that. And that's not clearly always available to most people. So what a blessing to be able to have meals provided to you that's going to help accomplish those goals during recovery.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do meal providers kind of fit into the broader healthcare landscape?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, there's a spotlight on food now as it relates to the foundation that it sets for our health. We're considered a non-medical service, but we're also part of the care team. So we partner with health plans, case managers, social workers, support staff all across different states, whether it be area agencies on aging and otherwise, to provide whole person care. So it's really about total social determinants of health, nutrition and meals being a big element of that. We also provide a lot of data, delivery consistency, right? Adherence and member satisfaction information back to these health plans and back to these payer systems to be able to provide better and more accurate services. I think the area of data development and providing information back so that we can provide a better and better service is a key part of what we're doing at Homestyle Direct. And I think our industry could use a lot more of that. We can become a better part of the care team if we have the data to back up utilization of our meals, the benefit that results, those types of things, which we're working on doing every day.
So it's more than just food.
Absolutely. So it's about engagement, right? So we talk to our members every month. More often we talk to them. Usually talk to them more frequently than monthly. But it's about engagement. It's about building trust and being proactive with people's care. So we're often not only engaged with some clients, or we're often engaged every week with many of our clients. We engage our members via phone calls, text messages, emails. And like I mentioned, it's usually often more than once per month. Our clients engage with us pretty naturally too. We find that when you're the food provider, you're the meal provider, people want to be on the phone. People want to talk. We obviously give people the option to change their meal selections whenever they'd like to. But they also often call us for sort of nutritional advice and counsel. And those that need a higher level of nutritional advice and counsel get access to a service that we provide called medical nutrition therapy. So that's a process by which you have a one-on-one therapy session with a registered dietitian nutritionist. You talk about your specific goals, your specific challenges. Often the benefits that we're able to offer to people is a meal a day or 2 meals a day. People are obviously eating more than that, so they need coaching and sort of counsel, therapy, if you will, to select the right foods outside of the meals that they might get provided from a service provider like ourselves. So that medical nutrition therapy is a really key element to making sure that people, are not just eating right for the 1 or 2 meals a day, but eating right for their conditions, their specific requirements all the time.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how, and maybe they do, how important that food is to our overall, even mental health. If you are feeling good from healthy food, and even for me, just as a general person without any medical issues, if I have eaten crappy for the day, I'm going to feel crappy. But if I've eaten, some healthy food, I actually feel better. I feel more engaged. I feel like I have more energy. I want to do some things. I'll be more energetic. I'll get more done. I'm more lighthearted. And in all honesty, it's a game changer in even just a day. So if you're living a consistent life where you're not getting what your body needs to be healthy, it's going to affect your overall just mental, emotional health. It's not even just the whole physical side.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. So it's we started off the conversation big picture. So
Right.
It really is big picture on the nutrition side that it affects different parts of your life. And I think some people don't always think about that part.
Yeah, I think the word we often hear used is energy. From our members, I feel energetic. I feel, people often use the word better as well, but energy always seems to be the one that comes to mind for me. And that's really what we're trying to provide to people is positive energy to be able to do the things they need to do to live independently.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, living independently, you want to be able to get out a little bit, maybe take your dog for a walk, maybe do a little bit of gardening. I'm not talking about going out and getting on a roller coaster, but doing the things that you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, I'd like to get out and maybe plant some new flowers. It's spring. I'd like to be able to do that. You want to be able to have the energy to do the things that you desire to do in your head that you're able to physically do. You want to be able to accomplish those goals.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
There you go. So I said it. So one of the things I think that seniors specifically, and I know caregivers of seniors, and I know that this is something that I think about and I struggled with even as I had my father with dementia and he was aging, is one of the things that I think kind of gets in our way is just policy and advocacy for our seniors as they're aging. So what do you think needs to change in policy to make aging at home more viable for our seniors? Because I do think there needs to be some changes.
Yeah, as we continue to kind of prove the benefits of having sort of prescribed food to folks, there's a need for broader adoption and coverage. So often people that get access to these benefits are in a Medicare Advantage program that has a supplemental benefit offering for meals, or they're on Medicaid and it's a waiver offering that they're able to gain access to for food insecurity is often the reason. So there's a certain portion of the population that gets access. I feel like we should broaden that access and broaden the coverage under health plans, whether that be through Medicaid at the state level, Medicare Advantage plans. And most importantly, if we could expand this benefit as a more traditional Medicare benefit, certainly a much larger percentage of the population would be able to take advantage and sort of reap the rewards associated with getting meals like the ones that we provide. I think overall, better integration of social determinants of health and payer models, healthcare payer models, is important. And as we're establishing, food is a part of healthcare. And so we need to treat it that way and include it in all of our major sort of benefit packages from a health perspective.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, and you may agree with me, I don't know, we'll kind of see. I feel like if you will save money on healthcare and overall healthcare if you start with the food, feed the body, and you will see less people walking in with other healthcare issues. I think you will actually find that insurance companies will save money.
Yeah, I think, societally, we're always looking for the easy fix, the fast fix.
Right.
And I think as much promise as the right nutrition has, it takes time. And it takes consistency of having the right things provided. But you're absolutely right. My belief is that if we can provide the right meals to people, the right food for their dietary restrictions, dietary requirements, whatever chronic conditions they have, and they utilize that food on a consistent basis, you're going to see benefits and savings down the road. And I think we just got to kind of change the way a little bit we think about preventative care. Mm-hmm. It's real easy to say. It's much harder to do and implement. But the first part of it is getting it as a benefit that people have access to more universally. And if that happens, you should be able to reap the benefits associated with greater population health that has a better, sort of more nutritious source of food.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we mentioned, a lot of Medicare Advantage and Medicaid beneficiaries gain access to these types of services. Those are people that are often 65 plus already. There's an argument that commercial benefits for employers and things like that, when people are in their 20s and 30s and 40s, should have more nutrition focused services and benefits to be able to get that preventative care element started much earlier in life. And so the cost associated with sort of care later in life is lowered. So, and I believe in that. I think that's exactly right.
Yeah, I definitely think there's, room for conversation on that for sure. So what, now that we've talked about that, what is your recommendation? What is the call to action that you believe?
Yeah, so obviously support legislation that expands or extends meal access, medically tailored meal access to folks, including in value-based care models, working with community partners. I think all of those things are important. We also need to advocate for supporting home care as a first choice for aging. So I think a lot of times people get to a certain age and they're looking for senior living or they're looking for institutional care. And for many, that may be great, right? That's their personal choice. And I think in many cases, it's the right move. But we should think first about how can we have people age at home, just because of the proven benefits that we talked about earlier on in this segment. That so many people are able to enjoy, not to mention social connection. The one thing I always point to as well, and this is a little bit more of a public affairs or government advocacy sort of point, is that if somebody that is dependent upon Medicaid, as an example, gets institutionalized, they are about 5 times more costly to that state than that person staying in their home and aging in place at home, even with meals and personal care services and non-emergency medical transportation sort of provided to them so they can go to and from the doctor. All of those benefits in combination are, sort of 1/5, if you will, the cost of putting somebody in a nursing institution. And that's a statistic that, we as an organization have talked a lot about with state legislators and others. But I think it's a statistic that needs to get out and talked about more frequently. So if you're paying for these services yourself, it's less than being in institutional care. And if you're the ward of a state, whether it be on a Medicaid program or otherwise, it's less costly for the taxpayer as well to have people aging at home. And so not just do you get all the benefits, the quality of life and the independence and the connection, social connection that I think is more beneficial. You also get this sort of economic benefit, financial benefit, regardless of who's paying for the services. So I think we should make it the first choice. And I would, obviously welcome people to join me in that crusade, if you will.
Yeah. I think in general, every aspect of a senior that is aging in place, there needs to be some ability for them to do that in a fiscally sound way and with resources that's provided and easily accessible. I think it really is something that we should be focusing on in general for all of those different aspects that we covered at the very beginning of the podcast. It's just something that is just, basically the cornerstone for aging in place.
Completely agree.
Well, before we sign off to this podcast, was there anything that we didn't discuss that you wanted to kind of hit on?
Not in particular. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to sort of give people our perspective on why aging in place is so important. I do think it's a topic that deserves more airtime, deserves more conversation, and obviously we advocate for people aging in any way they feel is best for them, whether it be at home, in a nursing institution, senior living, whichever. But I just feel as if this topic, this option, is not sort of talked about. The benefits associated with it are not talked about enough. So I appreciate the opportunity to do that. We obviously really enjoy our mission of providing people with medically tailored home delivered meals direct to their home here at Homestyle Direct, and are really, sort of proud to be a small part of allowing people to make the choice to age at home. So appreciate the time and the work that you do.
Absolutely. We appreciate the partnership that we have with you as well over at Homestyle Direct, and then everything that you do for our seniors and their families, for sure. We definitely appreciate that. So
thanks, Darlene.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. And we thank you for your insights and the incredible work that you and your team are consistently doing. And I want to definitely thank our listeners because aging at home, also what we were referring to as aging in place, is possible. And as Jeff mentioned, nutrition really is the cornerstone. Please visit HomestyleDirect.com for more information and resources. And that link will also be available in all of the apps that you're listening to, no matter where you listen. That link will be available there for you to click on, and it will take you directly to their homepage. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please share with others that you think would enjoy this podcast as well. We're available anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast. We have over 100 episodes with different topics to choose from. Thanks for listening.